Tell me a bit about the problem you're solving and what your robot, like the approach that your robot is taking.
Okay, so the problem space is lost inventory pretty much. So like the customer wants to track ideally very
How
fast.
large of a problem is this? Because I've heard that it's like half of inventory or something goes missing or some like crazy numbers.
Yeah.
How significant of a problem is lost inventory?
Well, I'm not a salesperson here, right? So I don't know exactly what we are saying normally. But when I speak to the customer on the floor space, there's like, depending on the customer, if they have service racks or depending on one value of an item, right? Like one pallet can be millions worth. If you just place it into the wrong aisle in a warehouse that is 100,000 square meter big.
It's good for lost forever.
It is lost forever, yes. I was at the customer side where they found a box which was 10 years old because they doubt our results. They were like, no, that can't be the case. This can't exist anymore. But we found it and they're like, wow, that's old. So so that gets lost. There are two ways to bring value. It's either high good items that are getting lost and which is just like they're not there on time anymore, or just in time in general, right? If you have to stock a truck which is going to the facility for production, and you don't find everything just in time, then you have a problem. You have a lot of costs to bear for the person you don't deliver the right goods to. So these are the two main points. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so to manage inventory, your robot has this large telescoping set of sensors.
Yeah.
So it can scan all of the aisles that have stacks and stacks and stacks of items.
Yeah.
Right? On pallets. Okay. So that's the general approach. Tell me a little bit about the robot.
Okay. Well, exactly. So we have this tower. We wanted to go with the tower to be fast, right? So what we can create, and here again, we learned going early to the customer. So our first customers had smaller warehouses. I'm talking like 20,000 square meters.
That seems enormous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but we thought it is enormous. I mean, like, wow, how can it set
Oh,
be
no.
bigger? But nowadays it's 10 times bigger where we are going.
Wow.
And we anticipated larger warehouses. We just were not sure. But this one is like, you have a lot of speed. We can, with a tower, going like with a full scanning phase, along a rack, with 1.5 meter per second, you can scan up to 15,000 locations per hour, which means like most warehouses have like 100, 200,000. So we manage in less than a day to scan also the largest warehouses, which creates exactly the value we are talking about.
Yep.
It's a real time, almost of what we consider in warehouses real time digital twin of their assets. It makes them much more productive. So that's why we went for the tower. We pretty much see there.
Mm-hmm. For the speed and everything like this.
Also speed, but there's also an element. It kind of emerged of another thing as well. So we came from retail. We had a really cute, my favorite MIM robot.
So like grocery stores or something like that?
Exactly, grocery store, electric stores, and it was then checking stock and inventory pretty much of the store. There are a few companies doing that.
Yeah.
And this robot had a similar scanning phase as you see there. But you must imagine that this robot kind of is one of the sections you see in this tower.
Yep.
So this robot here, this example, has 6 sections. And you can imagine there are kind of 6 MIMs. And so we could use the old business logic of our robot and just reuse it for this robot, scale it up to 6. And that made us incredibly fast in the beginning. So this knowledge, we could just scale up this.
Oh, yeah. And are you using ROS, the robot operating system?
Yeah. Big AutoCAD, we are also a sponsor, of course. And we use a lot of open source software. And we contribute back to us. So like, it's very important for us to have the knowledge of the community, to move fast, see where they are going and give back. So what we are using is ROS 2, Iron currently. And
so cool.
We want to switch like already yesterday, but sometimes there's crunch time. So
we will
go, obviously, because the end of support coming for Iron, and we are always on the latest release. And we will actually talk tomorrow also about that, why this is important for us.
Oh yeah, I like that, because it seems like a lot of companies, they will be on, like many companies are still on ROS 1.
Yeah.
And like, so I'm the ROS boss for Humble version, but it's like, so a lot of companies, they'll pick one and they'll stay on it versus keep upgrading. And I guess it's kind of like you have a little bit of pain every time you're upgrading to the new distribution, but then you over time you're eating that pain slowly, as opposed to having it all at once when you switch from ROS 1 to ROS 2 or something like this.
No, that's perfect. I mean, there's a motivation element you have to have. Like, so your company must embrace robotics in their core.
Yep.
And when they do that, and you can give them easily the idea of maintainability and being more feature ready is our central bit. So we have to update. So we have to give the customer the best stuff that is there, because they may see it somewhere else. We are robotics as a service.
That's an interesting idea. Okay.
We are not selling the robot. We are just putting the robot there, and we are selling the customer data. And to be always on the forefront of the technology, we are also on the forefront and with updating with ROS too. But I give you that, like other companies who are on ROS 1 and the switch is just hard.
Yes.
And I think one of the biggest problems is that you need to invest a lot of time into the right testing infrastructure to understand when you do the switch that you can quantitatively say that you don't break anything your customers had before. And this is horribly expensive. And we are doing this. So like we are investing a lot in that. I never call it testing when I talk to anybody. I call it like maintainability insurance.
Why?
Right? That you can. It's easier to sell internally. Because that's a money equivalent.
No one wants to pay for testing. It's
no, literally not. Testing is like
so maintainability or something like that.
And being feature ready, creating more features easily, time to market. We are reducing any time to market for each feature. This is how I communicate that.
I love it. I think that's a really smart approach. So with that, what advice do you have for someone who wants more testing at their organization and this kind of thing? Changing the words a little bit, maintainability seems like a good one. But like imagine someone in a robotics company where they want to increase the testing, but it's harder to sell management on it because they want new features or something like this. Like how would you frame it, or what are your thoughts on making that more likely to happen?
It's the time to market is still one of the key bits, because if you can ensure that a new feature is not breaking the old stuff which is with customers, and especially if you update your whole fleet, what we are doing as a robot as a service company, then to decrease this time you need the testing resources. So, and that is kind of the handle, the metric I'm using mainly to communicate that. Other advice, it's hard. So like I think the biggest challenge every robotics person in a company is facing is that we are still in the very early ages of robotics, I think.
Very much.
And the complexity that it's different than software, like handling a whole electromechanical system with software, it's usually not that central in companies. And you have to make somehow sure that this is a central part where you can drive decisions.
I don't fully understand. What do you mean, the electromechanical? Like actually testing on a physical robot? Is that what you mean? Or what do you mean?
No, that's for sure. No, I'm leaving the testing part here. It's more about like embracing that robotics is hard. I think that is rarely the case. So,
what do they do? They try to abstract it and stay away from the hardware? Or what did people do now?
No, so the way I try to get there is when you have a software-driven approach, you are not tackling the problems at their core. So like when we say testing in software, you can automate this, you create unit
you run it in
tests.
simulation.
Exactly. You have specific processes you go through, like you have a QA maybe, and they just do like, I use numbers from 0 to 100 and then I check it, right?
Like normal
obviously it's more
software testing. Yeah.
Exactly. It's more complicated, but in the gist there's like, I take crazy numbers and then let's see what's happening. With robotics, it's crazy, right? So there are environmental factors, like your sensor over time gets a bit untidy for some reason, or like needs cleaning, and then the magnitude of the error changes. So you have to take all these bits into account and create constant learnings and monitoring to be adaptable. And to create time for that, people have to embrace that this is complex, right? And I think a lot of the methods done for companies are very software focused. So a lot of templates we are using is like, we do it in software this way. It should be done in robotics this way. And we kind of have to reinvent this wheel. Yes? And there needs to be something different. And the advice is like for companies, I would say you have to embrace the core complexity. So you have to listen to your robotics people because they usually do know where the pain points are. And if you ignore that and think like, well, just test it, with some numbers. That's not how it works.